Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode in creating a 2D side scroller in Unreal Engine 4. I want to just apologize for not uploading as many videos as I did yesterday. As you can probably hear, my throat is really sore right now because not do I just teach, but I also have to I'm also doing these videos, and it's actually taking its toll on my throat. So try bear with me. I'm trying to go into as much detail as I can with a sore throat, but hopefully we'll get through this session. So hopefully in this session, the plan is to create ourselves a HUD, as you can see on your screen. We're going to be able to make ourselves a HUD for our 2D side-scrolling game. And that HUD can hold certain information, like, for example, health, and it can hold coins. It could hold anything you want it to hold. It would do that. And so we're going to look at creating that HUD. A very basic HUD. We're not going to go crazily into the whole design of making a HUD. Remember, this is more for beginners, this course. So we're going to cover very essential ways of creating a HUD. And then maybe later on, during the series, we can learn at cleaning up the HUD and making it to look a lot more better. Okay, so let's get ourselves over onto our main screen. And as you remember in our last session, we created sort of like a platform that moved up and down. But remember, we used the matinee in that one, which was this one here. And that was the matinee that we used. So that was going up and down as a matinee. And as that's why we've obviously got our blueprint that we did in our other session of creating a lift. That's a blueprint. However, in this session today, we're obviously going to be creating a HUD in this session. And to do this, we're going to need to make ourselves another folder because it's definitely not going to go in our blueprint folder, and nor is it going to go in our sprites. So we need to make ourselves a new folder for this session. And to make this folder, we just right-click on our contents, and we're going to go to a new folder. And we're going to call this folder HUD. Probably the easiest name to call. And as you know, I like giving colors, so I'm going to make this one green. I don't know, just like the color green, I suppose. And we're actually going to create ourselves a HUD for this session. And to do this, we quite simply just right-click on the screen. And as you can see, we've got a few things we can look at. For example, if we look at blueprints here, we can see that there's a few blueprints there. But what we're more interested in is this user interface, because that's what we're going to be working with, is this user interface. And the UI is pretty much the widget. And that's going to be what's going to hold all our stuff and show on the screen. So let's click on the widget blueprint. We can call it whatever we like. So let's call this main UI, so main user interface, which is probably the easiest name to call it. And we can quite simply just double click on it and we'll get this screen here. Now, pretty much if you had to think about this, this is obviously the design part of creating our UI. And it's pretty much, if you had to think about using Photoshop or any of those applications, it's pretty much the same. This is our canvas that we get to work with. So if you had to think about our screen that we currently play on, that would be the corner of our screen, and obviously that would be the end of our screen as well. And currently we're working with 720, which is pretty generic, so that's why we'll stick with the 720, because obviously we don't want to go 4K, because not many people have got 4K monitors, so we'll stick with pretty much the average of what people have obviously in their time. So what we're going to look at are things here. So we've got common. These are all your common things that you'll have in your UI. For example, buttons and images. So if you ever want to make an inventory system, which we can look at, I mean, if that's something you want to request, we could do something like that. That's fine. So you can have images, progress bars. This is going to be something we might look at. Sliders, text boxes, we're definitely going to look at them, and text. And then we've got things like inputs, so combo boxes, again, very important if you're making survival games or anything like that. We've got some panels. So again, these might be very important when we make, if you ever want me to, we could always make that type of system. And then we've got obviously primitive. I haven't actually really used any of these, if I'm being honest. I haven't found a project to actually work with these. So if anyone could give me a good idea to use these, please do. That'll be a nice little objective to do. So if we're trying to make a system, okay, so a UI that's always going to be on the screen, so it'll never disappear. It's always going to be constantly on the user screen. We have to obviously make it friendly, and we're obviously going to make it able to see. So you don't want to make it in the middle. That would be really stupid. Imagine putting your health bar here and total number of lives left, for example, and then how many coins have you collected, how much, how many bullets have you got left, for example. All those in the middle would be a bit crazy because obviously your character's in the middle, and we know that because we set our game that way, that our camera's going to point right in the center, so that's going to be really silly. So some people normally have it in the corners, and that's what I'm going to stick with. I'm actually going to stick with the corner. Why not? Makes sense, really, to be honest, to stick it into our corner. And in this session, all we're really going to set is a progress bar, because my idea is for the next few tutorials, I'm going to show you how to set up a health system and how to take damage and things like that. So that's probably one of the most requested things that people have sent me messages for. So I will be having a look at that and be able to sort that out. Sorry, my headset was making a funny noise. So what we're going to do is we're going to quite simply just throw a progress bar onto our screen. Okay, and we can expand that so we can make it a little bit bigger, and you can place this wherever you like on your screen. At the moment, I'm just going to put a, excuse me, sorry, I had to cough then. And on the progress bar, as we can see, we've got this percentage, and as you can see, once we scale the percentage, it increases, obviously, because it's a progress bar. And if you could imagine, the percentage that we start off with health is 1.0, which is basically representing 100. And then obviously it will then decrease depending on how much damage you take, and then that would run out. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to leave it like this. There are ways you can actually change it to put your own images on. And that's quite simply by, this is just your fill color, so we can actually change the fill if we wanted to, so we can make it go red. So you can see now it's a red bar. But what you could do is you could actually put images, and that's something I want to look at separately, because you can actually make very nice images for health bars. So for example, you can have like little hearts. But yeah, I don't really want to touch on that just yet, because that's going to be for a completely separate tutorial. So obviously this is our progress bar, and this is something we want to see in our game anyways. And maybe, what else do we want? So let's throw some text in. So with that text, we can call it, so text. Okay, so we'll call this coins here, because it's probably easier to make. So basically, we could make a system that we could collect coins, and then the coins will show in this area here. So for example, the number of coins that we have. I mean, we could set that up where we could put another text box next to it, for example. This is a very basic way of doing it. You shouldn't really do it this way. You should use containers. But on this one, we could say, you have number coins. That. So we can actually set it that way, where we can actually show the user how many coins he's actually got. So we put that there, can put that next to it, and then this value will change with the coins and etc. So we can set that up. That's not an issue. But again, the way how we set them up, oh my goodness gracious me, come on, Wayne, just stick with you. But yeah, we'll do these separate, or we could do them in one tutorial. We'll see how time goes, because remember, I try to keep it between 10 to 20 minutes. I don't like very long sessions. I think they get a bit boring. So now we have our widget, so our main UI. What we can start doing is we can look at how do we add this widget so we can actually see it inside the game. Now this is pretty simple. We can save it and we can compile this. And what we can do is if we just minimize this and go into our character, So let's find our character blueprints. So remember 2D side scroller BP, blueprints, and let's double click on our character. And as you can see, there's quite a few little things we've got here. Event begin play. We've got the set replicated, and we're gonna actually work off this this node because this is going to be really important for us because we want to keep that, to be honest. And obviously these are all its animations. We're going to actually delve deep into these, and we're going to change, for example, when we make our own character, we're going to have to change animations, for example, change flip books and things. So this, if you think about the blueprints, it's going to be quite massive. So there's going to be quite a lot of stuff we're going to be working on in regards to this. So what we need is we actually need this node. So we do need this one. So what we can do is we can, let's take that off. So Alt and click, and let's just put I'm just going to stick a sequence in there. Why not? So we'll throw a sequence, and then this can be the second sequence. Okay. Just so we get that out of the way. However, what we want is our first thing is we want to show our widget. So if I had to say add widget, oh no, that's definitely not what I want. So widget, so we can, where's it gone? There we go. Sorry. Create a widget. And the widget that we want to create, so our class, is going to be our main UI. And basically that's going to create our widget that we want to observe and have it running on the screen. But if I had to compile and save and play the game now, you'll see that we can't see the widget on our screen. That's because we have created it in the blueprint, so here, so we've created the widget to be shown. But what we need to do is we actually need to show it to the player. And really it's quite simple that we just type in add to viewport. And that's basically going to say we're going to add the widget to the player's screen. So if we save, why is that not working? Return value. There we go. And play, we can see now we've got the UI on the screen. So we've got our health bar, and we've got this text of number of coins and coins here showing. And this will stick with you no matter where you are inside the game. As I said, that's the whole point of the UI system, is that it's going to continue with you throughout the game. And just to clarify what I did there, my mind just went completely blank all of a sudden. I think it's just probably because I'm sick. Is that you obviously have to connect your return value to your target. You couldn't have it as this. It makes no sense because it's got nothing to connect to. It's trying to say, or connect to myself, but the widget's not actually on itself, so we have to return the UI into the viewport code so it can be seen. However, this is going to slightly change here. We're going to add, for example, when we start looking at health and etc., there'll be extra things that's going to pop into this area here. So yeah, this is going to slightly change. But this lesson was all about getting the UI to show on the screen. So as we can see here, we can see the UI working. Now, as you can see, the percentage bar is set to 0 because we haven't told it to go to 100. So it's just going to stay at 0 for now. And so yeah, we don't really need to worry about that just yet until we start looking at another tutorial. So just to recap what I did, just so we clear, is that I created a HUD. So I just made a new folder, created a HUD, pressed right click, went to user interface, and then went to widget blueprint. Therefore, obviously called it main UI. You could call it whatever you like. It doesn't matter what you call it, because as long as you know what you call your stuff, it makes life a lot more easier when it comes to creating blueprints and stuff that need to reference that type of material. And then basically all I did is I opened it up and I dragged the progress bar, which is here, dragged that onto the scene, and two text boxes. One that I changed to have you have no number of coins. I need to obviously change that. That says you have no coins. That makes no sense, to be honest. I will change that. And then I dragged another text box onto here. Now these two here are going to be what they call dynamic. So they will change. And I'll show you how to do that in our next session. But yeah, for now, it wasn't much of an issue. And then all I did is I went to my 2D side scroller BP, went into my blueprints, opened up my character, and I found my event begin play, because this is really important, this event begin play, because that's obviously when the game starts. We want something to happen. Now, the event begin play was already set up to this, which was the replicated. This here, ignore that. This is not something beginners should really worry about just yet. But what I did is I just stuck a sequence just after the begin play, and I connected it up to number 1. You could add more, and we will do, but for now, I just stuck that into 1. But the main part is that I dragged this off the sequence node, created a widget, chose its class. So in this case, it was main UI is what I created. Hence why naming conventions are really important, especially when you're creating things. And then all I did was I then added it to the viewport so the user can then see that widget on the screen. So I hope you learned something about creating a HUD. This is very, very simple HUD. In our next sessions, we're going to look at adding things like health. We might look at damage. Maybe, as I don't really like spending too long on these videos. I think the shorter the better, I think. But yeah, we'll cover those when it comes to that. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry, but my throat is absolutely killing. And I hope to see you in the next episode where we'll start looking at health. Thank you very much. I'm Wayne, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Thank you. Bye-bye.